Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? The answer is, of course not. Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? Again, of course not. So he that goeth in to his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men, do not despise a thief if he's stealing to satisfy his soul when he is hungry, but if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all substance of his house. So it's sort of understandable if a man is stealing because he's starving to death, yet he still has to make restitution. But, in contrast to that, verse 32 says, whosoever committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. And here's the key phrase. He that doeth it destroys his own soul. Now, this is so important. Adultery, the strange woman, prostitution, immorality, fornication, all of these things, here is the summary statement of why these things are to be avoided at all costs. Because when we do these things, we destroy our own soul. It is not simply physical, emotional, or romantic. The act of sexual intercourse is a mystical, miraculous union that brings two spirits into oneness. Therefore, in the Garden of Eden, God called their name Adam. Not Mr. and Mrs. Adams, not the Addams family, not Mr. and Mrs. Adam and Eve. He called their name Adam, speaking mystically that in sexual union there is a oneness that is right in the boundaries of marriage. Why? Because when a married couple is sharing in sex, in that intimacy, there is a building, a flowing, a binding together of two people's spirits. And it shows tangibly and practically in their offspring. That's the wonderful combination of two people coming together. But mystically, spiritually, it's happening whether there's offspring or not. When there is intercourse, when there is that relationship being developed, you are becoming one, and that one is becoming with you. There's a merging of two spirits. That's why sex is important in marriage, by the way. It produces and fosters that oneness. But outside of marriage, you got trouble. You got real problems. Real difficulties. Why? Because now you're becoming one with somebody, and when that relationship dissolves, and when they go their way and you go your way, we have a phrase for it, our culture on the street. I don't mean to be crude, but it's important I say it. We say, or our culture says, I hope we don't, well, you know, I got a piece of her, or I got a piece of him. That's exactly right, you did. And that cannot be returned. That's the tragedy. You took something from her, or she took something from you, and now that is irreparably lost. It's like the peeling of an onion. Layers are lost of the soul that are not and cannot be recovered. You have given something spiritually of yourself to that individual. When they walk away, because you're not married, there's no commitment there, they walk away with part of you that you have lost. And that's why Paul in 1 Corinthians 5 makes this huge argument about don't join yourselves with a harlot. You are joining Christ with a harlot. You say, well, I'm not into harlots. The idea is they're anybody who has sold out, not just a professional prostitute, but they've sold themselves out to their own sexual lusts. If you join yourself and have intercourse with them, you have forced Jesus Christ into that relationship. Now Jesus Christ, who dwells in your spirit, is joined with that individual at that moment. That's a heavy-duty thing. And not only is Jesus joined, but your spirit is joined. Therefore, you are losing something of yourself unless in marriage that's being poured back and forth, you see, in the marriage relationship. Then you're gaining strength. And that's why marriage is so beautiful. You're gaining strength. But if you're involved in illicit relationships, you are losing something that is irrecoverable. Solomon is saying, don't you see? Don't you understand that you can't take fire to your chest and not get burned? You can't walk across coals without getting hurt? And don't you understand that he that commits adultery lacks understanding? You destroy your soul. Heavy. See, our culture doesn't understand that. Even Christians, we don't understand that. We just think, oh, well, it's just kind of a trip. I feel emotionally desirous or physically attracted or sensually wanting or whatever we might want. But the Bible says, hey, look, this is reality. And the world, in their profaneness, somehow have come across that. They say it. They have phrases that describe it. Yes, it's true. Somehow, they're right. A piece was taken. Something was lost. So, whoever commits adultery lacks understanding. He that doeth it destroys his own